What happens when small groups of people all across the world become motivated and inspired enough to take action within their community to show love and plant seeds to assist in the awakening of consciousness? Stick around and you'll find out. This is Skull Babylon, and you're about to listen to episode 64 of Paradigm Shift Radio, in which we revolve the discussion around the topic of global shiftivism and world peace, and how we can work within the system to rebirth it from within. Through the understanding of synchronicity and the willpower to take action, anyone can create portals for the universe to work through and birth amazing opportunities for you to meet other like-minded shifters in your local community. Visit ParadigmShiftCentral.com for access to shift tools, shift buttons, shiftivism videos, and a connection to an awesome community of people actively engaged with being the change they wish to see in the world to help create space to foster the growth of consciousness itself. Like and share this inspirational content to help ripple things further, and connect to future episodes at Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. The power to change the world is within each and every one of us. So be inspired, be changed, take action, and show love. Enjoy the show. So let's admit it. We live in a system, and this system has rules. And within these rules, there's a lot of confines, but at the same time, there's a lot of opportunity for us to be able to weave and surf our way through them, for us to be able to utilize some of the very forces that are meant to keep us oppressed, so to speak, and to be able to work within a system and to rebirth it from within. This is Skull Babylon, aka Brendon Wolfshield Culleton, aka Skull the Wolf. You're tuned in for another inspirational, insightful, strategic planning episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. So, of course, for everybody listening to this show live right now in the present moment, please help get the show out there. I will say, just so everybody's aware, at this time we do have a fewer listeners than last week. Obviously, last week we actually had a really impressive show, and we actually had about 500 listeners tuned in. But of course, that's just the networks that we're tapping into. But when we don't have that huge boost coming from the other networks, it's really up to us, up to the people immediately within the Paradigm Shift Radio and Paradigm Shift Central community to take it within our own responsibility to share the show. So for every time you share the show, it opens up a potential portal for other people to find out about it, for other people to get connected to what we're doing here at Paradigm Shift Radio and Paradigm Shift Central, and for them to be able to get involved and really just find something really exciting and something really worth getting involved with. And that's exactly what we will be talking about here tonight. We'll be talking about the creations of portals through the acts of global shiftivism. So some of you might have seen earlier in the week, I created an event, and this event was to really just gain momentum, to garner momentum, to encourage and inspire and help give some direction for people to follow, for people to be inspired by, so we can all sort of point our energy and our focus towards the fact that September 21st was International World Peace Day. Now, of course, you can say every day should and is World Peace Day, but September 21st is traditionally World Peace Day, or at least it has been for the last few years, to my understanding. And within that day, I personally encourage people to go out and engage with their community, to plant seeds that would assist in the awakening of consciousness. So ParadigmShiftCentral.com, for those of you who have not tuned into this before, is a global collective, a hub for a global collective of individual people and communities working together to help bring more consciousness into this world, to promote open-mindedness, healthy living, and the evolution of consciousness itself. And more so than perhaps some other communities is the fact that what I really try to emphasize is the act of engagement, and that's where this whole shiftivism thing comes about. So ParadigmShiftCentral.com is the main website, so I encourage you to go there and actually browse the website if you might be listening to the show for the first time and haven't checked it out before. It's lots of new updates on the website. Those of you who've been following know that I've put a lot of work into that, and it's really coming along, and it's definitely been a huge aspect to how everything is falling into place. Everything is moving into, everything is coming together so that we can move into the next phase. And the next phase is a very, very exciting thing because there's a lot of potential. So you'll have to excuse me tonight. First of all, just because I do have a bit of a cold. I'm coming down with something. So I'm going to actually, for my own sake, I'm going to try and not talk too much, not babble on too much as perhaps I normally would. So I will be encouraging other people to call into the show whenever they're ready, and I believe that we do have a couple of people who are already in the queue, so I'll be bringing them on within the next few minutes. And of course, you can connect with me, Brendon, aka Skull Babylon, Neo Gonzo Journalist of the Future. You can connect with me through my personal Facebook, facebook.com/Skull Babylon, and youtube.com/Skull Babylon. And just to introduce again what this episode is about, global shiftivism. What the heck is shiftivism? Is that a real word? Well, it is now, because we're using it. And I don't take credit for inventing it, but I do take credit for being the first person to use it, because I'm pretty sure, I'm like 96% sure that no one else was using the term shiftivism until I sort of like coined it up just recently too, like within like the last couple of weeks. I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense too. So shiftivism, as I've given a definition to it, shiftivism is the act of showing love and planting seeds that will assist in the awakening of consciousness. So again, shiftivism, the act of showing love and planting seeds that will assist in the awakening of consciousness. So yeah, shifty stuff. So I mean, a big part of what we're trying to do here with Paradigm Shift Central, a big part of it is the fact that we're actually creating our own language. So, I mean, shiftivism is one word, and then we have this other term, shifters, and that refers to people who are tuned into the show, people who consider themselves a shifter. I mean, that's the thing. Nobody can tell you. Like, you have to decide for yourself whether or not you're a shifter. It's a role, it's a responsibility, it's a commitment to wanting to be the change that you want to see in the world, to wanting to help align yourself with the potential that is definitely within you, and to be able to inspire other people to do to take similar steps towards empowering themselves, and collective empowering and inspiration, and embracing the light, of course. So shifters is another term, and then shiftivism, and then of course you sort of have the general phrase shifty stuff. So what we're doing here tonight on Paradigm Shift Radio is we're talking about a lot of shifty stuff, and shifty stuff of course refers to the idea of esoteric knowledge that hasn't really been talked about it's being talked about now more than ever at any point in history, whereas previously, like 100 years ago or even 200 years ago, this is the type of stuff where they would literally kill you if you were caught talking about some of this stuff. It was a one term for esoteric is it's information, in addition to being hidden, it is information that is like meant to only be held only meant to have access to by like a select few, be it like hierarchy or just, you know, some sort of special group or whatever. So that information, thanks to the internet, of course, and thanks to all the different and amazing people out there who are just tapping into a lot of this information themselves, like without even, I mean, a lot of this information is, we've said this before, it's a process of remembering. It's a process of us beginning to realize what we are capable of within this reality, and beginning to realize that the guru is inside of us. So, I mean, even if you look back, where did this esoteric information come from? Well, you would think there has to be a source, but it's not like there was just like one person who just started giving out all this information. Rather, it's that all these people who were exploring these esoteric topics were tapping into the source consciousness, the truth itself, the idea that like there is much more to this awareness than what we get just from our common like everyday like base level reality. And in fact, like again, this is, you know, we're all sort of like individual sort of like fingertips of God branching out. We're all pieces of the collective experiencing self-subjectively. Again, this is stuff everybody, a lot, I mean, of course not everybody, because we have to presume there's people who are tuning into the show within, you know, for the first time, and of course we welcome them, and a big part of what we're trying to do here is to maintain and keep information accessible. So for those of you who may not have realized, or maybe we're just sort of needing to hear it again, it's definitely this idea that we are all parts of the collective experiencing itself subjectively. And what does that mean? That means that we come into this reality and inhabit this form only for like a temporary bit of time, and beyond this physical body we're actually a lot more. And by more, it's like this idea of higher consciousness, where the more or the encompassing awareness of a system. So I mean, in the same way that reality, like the nature works within systems. So you have like microbiotic levels, and then it sort of like goes up, and like cellular, and then goes up, and then, you know, like we have like people, and then it goes up from people, and it creates like a city, and that city looks like another cell, sort of thing, right? So it's like this idea of like how high up can it go, and within each time you go up, it's this idea that there's awareness of what is underneath it. So right now we have put ourselves into this place where we're in a system, where a lot of us are in the system, are in the midst of Babylon, and Babylon in itself, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to define and interpret Babylon. Babylon in itself, from one way I look at it, is this idea of the system itself, is the system that is there to like try and like distract us and try and get us like enslaved within sort of misdirectional programming and et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, Babylon is where we are. And then, of course, what we're trying to do is to sort of like rebirth, to change, to transmute Babylon from within. And for those of you who are wondering, like, yes, that does tie in like with the handle that I use, Skull Babylon. Like, Skull Babylon literally translates to rebirth from within. And that's something that I'm reiterating more and more as it's starting to like make sense now as we're continuing to move towards that. So in terms of Shiftivism stuff, what can you do? What are the awesome things that you can do? Well, I'll tell you a first-hand story. For myself last night, I was downtown in London, Ontario, Canada, because that's where I am. And what I was doing, I went out there with a free hug sign, and I stood on a corner. I stood on the corner of Richmond and Central, and I basically waited for people to come up to me and offer to give me a hug, because I would just stand there like smiling with a hug sign and being like very polite and everything like that, and just putting off good energy and good vibes and like doing a little like dance a little bit. And basically like people would see that, and then you make eye contact and you like project like this like green love beam from your heart, so to speak, like this green laser, and the people who hug you, they connect with you. And then what I have as part of my tools, as part of my shift tools, are the shift buttons. And again, those of you who who haven't heard of the paradigm shift thing before, the shift buttons are such a key thing. They are individual 2¼ inch buttons that have imagery on them that are meant to invoke conscious remembering. They are meant to provoke conversation. They're meant to also be used as like identifiers, so people with buttons can recognize other paradigm shifters with buttons. So again, people come up, they give me a hug, I give them a button. On the button there's a website for Paradigm Shift Central. It links them back to the website, and I also give them a pamphlet for the regular meeting that we have downtown at a yoga studio. And again, for those of you in London, 236 Dundas Street, every Friday, 6:45 p.m., 3rd floor, open-minded discussion, meditation. Awesome place to meet people and connect with people and have like new opportunities to make new friends and just explore new ideas and practice listening and practice talking. And, you know, there's no one forces you to talk at these meetings. And of course, going back to what is Paradigm Shift Central, a big part of Paradigm Shift Central, I mentioned, is the communities. So there's individual communities all across the world, and we want more people to get involved with these communities. We want more people to take the initiative to start up communities in their areas. And those people who are in the communities do tune into this radio show on a regular basis and are a part of this radio show. And we're going to be hearing from the different like admins of the Paradigm Shift communities on the radio show tonight. And the emphasis behind these communities is to create regular meetings, to have physical space where people can come together and just practice having conversation. And again, that's really what we're doing here tonight. We are practicing having conversation. We are practicing in the art of collective education and collective inspiration. So by listening to the show, yes, of course, I want you to be inspired by the fact that there are people out there who are taking the responsibility upon themselves to really go out there and hack the matrix, to really go out there and take part in acts of global shiftivism. And again, we'll get more into different strategies as to how this global shiftivism can take place. And of course, if you go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com, you'll see the newest video that I have up on the front page. That is literally from last night, again, on World Peace Day that I did. And that video, you see, you know, I'm just like kind of reiterating what I just said in the last couple minutes. But one of the key things that I really emphasize is the idea of portals, and I mentioned that just briefly earlier in the episode, and portals is something that I've just been thinking a little bit more about, and it's really what I think needs to be sort of just understood in terms of like what it is that we're doing, how much our potentials are creating new realities. So a portal in itself is potentially anything. A portal is something that can be used for people to go through to get to more parts of themselves, to explore more parts of themselves. So I mean that can be that sounds like kind of very broad, but what we're doing here through the idea of creating portals is we're creating opportunities. When we create a portal with conscious intent, then the universe recognizes that and it brings other people and it starts attracting them to these portals with those people who are aligned with that energy. So I mean, when I'm standing downtown with my free hug sign, I'm creating a portal. Like the portal is almost like it's got like a gravitational pull to it. So I mean, in a very synchronistic nature, it's just this idea that people will like follow their intuition and they'll just like go this way and that way, but then the right people will find me, and they won't even do it consciously, but like subconsciously, their subconscious is connected to the higher consciousness, which is like actually guiding them without them actually even realizing it. And that's where you get into this idea of like intuition. But that in itself is like your higher self, your the higher consciousness, the higher part of the system, gently moving things towards directions that are in its best interest, are gently like the branches growing towards the light opposed to the dark sort of thing. So it's a really exciting experiment in itself, and it's something that I definitely encourage people to do. And of course, go to paradigmshiftcentral.com/tools, and you will find all the new shift tools that we have uploaded there. And in addition to the free hug signs, you will find a link for the buttons. Please order some buttons if that's something you want to get involved with. And for those who are looking to get like a special deal, this is something I'm sort of thinking about, but I'm thinking about for those people who want buttons. What I'm offering is a special discount price for those people who are also Paradigm Shift community admins. So that involves taking a little bit more responsibility upon yourself, and that might not be tomorrow, that might not be a week from now, and just sort of like play it out by feel when you want to become an admin. And basically becoming an admin means creating a Facebook group for your community, finding a place where you can have regular meetings or just different places where you can have meetings every now and then. And of course, these can be like parks and libraries and any place. And then to be involved in the promotion of your community and to be involved in the outreach and connecting with other people, which is exactly what the buttons do. So by having buttons, you create, like, if you have 40 buttons, that's potentially 40 people who are going to get connected with you, who are going to know about your meetings, and that door is open, that portal is open, and when the time is right, they'll come out to your meetings, and those people are going to be awesome people. If they gave you a free hug, if that's how you gave them the button, or if you like just went up to them and said like, hey, I have a gift for you, like take this button, and that's how you gave it to them, and you sort of attracted to that energy, then it's definitely like going to just blossom communities in a way that has never really been done before. And that's why I'm really excited about the fact that we can use these buttons, so the fact that these like buttons exist, by the fact that we can use them as shift tools. So you have the buttons, and again, paradigmshiftcentral.com/buttons. And again, if for the admins, I'm thinking about having like a special price, a special discount price, so either like 75 cents per button or 50 cents per button, because evidently that results in you having more buttons, which means more outreach, which means more people finding out about the community, and it just like really helps birth things exponentially. And in addition to all that, you have the 2-person shift signs, and again, go back to the Shiftivism videos on the main website, and you will find us within our Paradigm Shift London community on the few occasions when we've taken action with these shift signs, and the shift signs have thought-provoking words on them that again are going to sort of plant those thought seeds that are going to assist in the awakening of other people. So again, the thoughts like open your heart, thoughts like as you think so shall you become, and what I said at the beginning, the idea of we are a collective consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. So thoughts like those, having those on a nice 2-person sign big enough for a car to read as it goes by, is a really effective way to get engaged with your community and to really have fun doing it, and to see the awesome people that you can meet. So again, I'm really inviting and I'm really encouraging people to take action where they are and to consider this an opportunity for adventure, to find creative ways to connect with other shifters in your community, because that is evidently where we're at. Like 2012 is behind us. We're almost in 2014. In my mind, a big part of what we need to be focusing on is our outreach. It's awesome if we can spend a lot of time reading books in our house and browsing the internet by ourselves, but it's even more awesome when we can connect with other people and start exchanging information. Say like, hey, this is how I understand things. These are my experiences. How do you experience things? How are your things? And then you can like share information, and it goes back and forth, and it's really just a lot more like cyclical and dyadic, and it's really amazing. So go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com and you'll find the links for how to start a community. Go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com/start-a-community is a specific link, and you can read up about what it takes to get things moving, and we'll give you as much help as you ask for. And of course, this radio show is a big part of it, because we can check back in, and this radio show is a very episodic thing. So those of you who have been listening, you know that the past episodes have been progressive, and if you have tuned in for over a year now, you'll see like how much things have changed, how much things have evolved, and how much things are continuing to evolve. So I mean, rather than just like something where it's just like, oh, that's cool, but you just sort of one off, like Paradigm Shift is an invitation for people to get as involved as they choose to, and of course we choose you to get very involved, in the sense that the more involved people can become, the more intention we can have towards really just creating and birthing some awesome realities. So that's a lot of the stuff that I just wanted to mention off the bat, and we're already quite a bit into the episode, but I hope that information is valuable, and we'll talk, and we'll get some more. So again, if anybody wants to call in, what I would love to hear stories of other people's acts of shiftivism that took place on World Peace Day. And again, I know our number count is a little bit lower in terms of live listeners, but for those of you who are listening, please, I do encourage you to call in. And remember, this is just practice. I've been doing this for a while, but even still, like, I'm still practicing, I'm still learning. So I invite you to just let go of whatever might be holding you back, and just have fun, and use this as an excellent opportunity to not only grow yourself, but to inspire others who perhaps are just in similar places where they're just not too sure. And again, that's where the more we practice, the better we can get at communicating and just doing whatever it is that we need to do. So one thing I was going to mention, just in terms of, I know last episode I mentioned, I was talking about how I was literally doing the Shiftivism thing on the night before, and I was like, oh yeah, there's like gnomes, there's gnomes downtown and stuff like that. I mentioned this in one of the admin meetings we had, and we have hangout meetings with admins, which is another reason to get involved. You meet awesome people, and it's really chill. And the gnomes aspect to the story from last week, just to tell you guys, it was basically this band, and they were like sort of like an eco art sort of like busking band, and they were called like the Gnomes of Darkness or something. So it was just like this really like cool group of, there's a couple guys and a couple girls, and they were playing like awesome instruments, and they were busking on the corner, and I was doing my free hugs thing. So that's where the gnomes came in case anybody was just looking for a closure on where that story was going last week. So there you go. So in terms of what else we'll be doing in this episode, we will be doing something really cool, which is actually sharing some audio from the Howl at the Moon full moon project, which is something that we talked about in previous episodes, and something those of you know about within the community. And that was when I put out an invitation to get people to howl at the moon, and then we were going to take the audio and mix it together into like a song. And one of our buddies, Eric, actually did that, and he did it really well, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. So we'll share that in the later half of the show, within the last like half hour. So stay tuned for that, and I'll also be mentioning a little bit later in the show who our guests will be for next week. Actually, I should say guests. It's going to be plural, so who our guests will be for next week's show. So stay tuned and you'll get filled in on that. And also on the top of the hour, we'll be bringing on Scott Love of the 3 Days of Light Gathering and Retreat happening in Hot Springs, North Carolina in the next few weeks, which is pretty soon in October. And those of you who have been following this stuff for a while know that I was there last year. I won't be there this year, but I was there last year and I made a full-length movie about it. And if you haven't checked any of the movies out, of course, go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com/movies and you can check out the 3 Days of Light movie, which of course got some really awesome feedback, and I'm really happy that it came out the way it did, and a huge thanks to Scott. So we'll be talking about what is happening this year at the 3 Days of Light Gathering and Retreat, so stay tuned for that. So with that said, I'm going to bring on a caller from area code 623. I'm not entirely sure who this is. I think... So I'll bring that caller on, and then I also got a caller from area code 67. Looking for specifically my buddy Noah was going to be calling in. So Noah, just message me in the chat if you're confirming that you are in the queue, and I'll make sure that we get you on as well. And Noah's within my Paradigm Shift London crew. So, and of course, anybody who's listening to the show who I ran into last night, all the amazing people who I met, close to 100 buttons, if not more, and I met a lot of amazing people, and I invited them to check out the website and check out the meeting and tune into the radio show. So if they happen to be tuning into this radio, connect with me through Facebook, and of course you can find the links. They're everywhere on the main website and stuff. So please do that, and I look forward to just communicating with you further. There's so many awesome people. I had some really good conversations last night, lots of really, really good hugs, and it was really, really awesome to expanding love. So again, global shiftivism, that is what we need to do. That is the thing that is going to help us find the others in our community, to help us build the tribe, to help us hack the matrix and rebirth Babylon from within. So there's lots of different ways to do it. So we'll continue the theme of that conversation as I bring on potentially two. Code 623, I'm going to bring you on, and then also I'm going to bring on caller from area code 954. So one of those maybe Noah, we'll see. Caller from area code 623, if we're ready, we're going to bring you on. Hello, caller, can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Caller, what is your name?
Diane from Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, awesome. And Diane, what would you like to bring to the show tonight in terms, in theme with global shiftivism and world peace?
I just want to say thank you so much for bringing your light to this world. And I see myself as a spiritual peacemaker, if you will. And I was drawn to your show, and I'm very grateful to listen to it. I really enjoy it. I listen at work on the podcast, and it's wonderful.
Awesome. All right, so it was Diane or Diana?
Diane.
With an E. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, well, Diane, we'll keep you here, and I'm just going to bring on this other caller, and then we'll get moving along with just sort of, I'll put some ideas out there, and we'll get a 3-person conversation going on. But yes, thank you, Diane.
Awesome. Thank you.
And of course, reminder to everybody listening to this, you can take Paradigm Shift Radio with you mobile, and if you go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com/PSR, you can find all the links to the MP3s. So for those of you who love listening to stuff on the go, that is the place where you can find the links. So caller from area code 954, we're going to bring you on to the air next. Here we go.
Cool. Hi.
Hello, caller.
Hi.
Can you hear?
Hi.
Hello.
Is that
caller,
me?
what? Yeah, we can hear you. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Barbara. I checked into your show last week, and for the first time, and it was like, wow. Yeah, it was totally cool. But
cool.
I've been listening to other shows, and I have to tell you, I'm a show junkie. I don't watch TV or anything like that. Whatever. Anyway. You guys have a lot of good things going on, but are you in with the rest of the world, with the things that are going on with like Fukushima, fracking, vaccines, chemtrails? I mean, are you people just gonna diss that part of life, or do you accept that part of life? Because I don't really know. I'm a newbie. I'm a newbie to your channel, and I'm very impressed with the numbers and the energy and the enthusiasm of the young people. I'm a little older, and I think it's great. But do you ever, put all that other stuff in the mix? It was World Peace Day, but I thought, today, my opinion, and I'm going to give it to you in one sentence because I don't want to bore anyone, but it's like world peace. I've been preaching that since I was 14 years old. I'm 55 now. All right. It's like an old message. We have so many other things going on that world peace almost sounds kind of stupid. Mm-hmm. It's like our food is not right, our water is not right, our air is not right, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So for me to say, and I have my own, when I have my own little, when somebody calls me, I say, and please pray for world peace. But I'm thinking wow, world peace is just a little tidbit in the snowstorm. And I've always been a peace advocate, and I still will always be a peace advocate. But there's so much other shit going on. So how do you incorporate that into your shiftism and your stuff?
Yeah. I think I do have a response to that, and
thank you.
Oh, no problem. No, thank you, because I do hear where you're coming from, and I think it does create an interesting point for conversation. So, Diane, we'll get you involved in this as well, of course. And to respond directly, I think in sort of what you're asking, you kind of ask, do you guys, do the Paradigm Shift crew or whatever. I'll say this, that Paradigm Shift is not supposed to be about an ideology. It's not supposed to be about telling people what to think, but rather encouraging them to think for themselves. So what Paradigm Shift is about creating a platform for conversations such as these to take place. So, conversations relating to chemtrails and fluoridated water and war and stuff. Right. Those are very acceptable conversations that can and do take place within the meetings that happen within the physical communities. Now, I will say that we don't always talk about it on the radio show. And for me personally, it's not that it's something that I don't deem important, but at the same time, it's not something that I feel I need to put immediate attention on, just in the sense that there's a lot of other stuff that we can talk about, and it seems that if people do want to sort of hear about the Fukushima stuff and any of that, there are a lot of other resources.
Other places, yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of other places talking about that. So it's really not that it's not that we're trying to just push it aside or whatever, but at the same time, energy flows where your attention goes. So what I try to do with Paradigm Shift Radio is I want it to be an inspirational thing that boosts people. So when people listen to Paradigm Shift Radio, I want them to get something out of it. I wanted it to be a spiritual medicine, so to speak. And of course, lots of things can be spiritual medicine. I use that term sort of vaguely, but even posts that we see on Facebook that have inspirational quotes, that is a little vitamin of spiritual boost, and it's just oh yeah, that's a good reminder. So by focusing more on that, I think it gets more out of the show, because I don't think people would really intentionally tune into Paradigm Shift Radio if they were just listening, knowing that they were just going to listen to stuff about oh well, this is a problem, this is messed up. Whereas I like to say hey, this is what we can do. These are the awesome things that are happening. This is the stuff that is taking place that you're probably not going to hear about in too many other locations. So, yeah, in that sense, that to answer that side, and then kind of what you were saying, this idea of is world peace a kind of quote unquote stupid idea? For me personally, I kind of, at least within the event that I created, and the title of this episode, global shiftivism and world peace, I sort of use the term world peace as kind of almost rather an idea, rather a symbolic representation of harmony. So the idea of like world peace creating and beginning like within like our individual actions. So by me standing on a corner and giving out free hugs, is that creating world peace across the world? Not necessarily, but what it is representing is the ideas of love and harmony. And so within that place that I'm standing, it is representing the energy of like wanting world peace, yet not at the same time like standing for the naivety that it's going to occur like within the next, couple of years, because yes, of course, there are like all these things that are sort of like in the way of that. But I mean, it again, like it is an interesting conversation. Like, what does world peace even mean? And I think different people will give different answers to that. And how do we go about doing that? So, Diane, I'll pass over to you, Barbara. I'd like to hear like a response from you as well on this. But Diane, like, what do you feel are ways that we can sort of represent the symbolism, the energy of wanting world peace and just love and harmony? Like, what are the little things that we can do that make a big difference, just from your side of things?
Just as being peace, just be it. Show it. Show up in the world as a peaceful person, and spread it. I mean, there's just little things as giving a hello, like the free hugs. I love that. I do that. It's awesome. And it's just so unexpected, especially in places like Phoenix. You don't see that really, everyone's in busy, go. Like, hey, hello, peace, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always do that.
Barbara, go ahead. Yeah.
Just to interrupt, pardon me, but I always do that. I've been a peace monger for a long time, and
I have issues with that.
I have a smile. I'll try to break up a fight if it's something's going on, I'll just like try to make it nice, mediator. As a peaceful person, that's one of my jobs to do. But in a world where there's so much garbage and so much, I don't know. I guess I'm fighting with myself because in a place I could be very peaceful in my own little place. I could just if I just tune out a lot of stuff, I could just be really peaceful. I just had to give up a pet, which was not my favorite thing to do. But I'm sick, and I just can't take care of all these pets that I have. So I gave a pet to this kid that was like, whoa, I'm just like totally in love with this pet, and she was so happy, and I gave her everything that she wanted, and I was like, shit, that's cool. That's cool. That's a cool thing to do, when you can't do things anymore, if you're sick or you got a diagnosis that is not good, you have to do things, So I was just looking for you guys. I love peace. I mean, if you answer my phone, I say, please pray for world peace. But now with all this other stuff going on, I just happen to think, well, am I stupid? Am I naive? Am I in my own world? Are there other people who think the way I think, where peace and harmony is the way to be, and this is our earth, and this is the way we should be? And so I'm kind of battling within myself. So.
Yeah, and I think that's very understandable. I really think it is, especially, I mean, and I just sort of say this, like being younger. I mean, for people who have been in the system longer, I mean, you go through, you hear more of the stuff that says like, oh, it's not worth trying to change the world, like don't even bother and everything like that. But for me, like it would, in my place from where I am, and I think for a lot of like the other young people, it would be like naive to not want to do anything, because I mean that would be the easier thing to do. It would be
that's easy. That's why I love this group. That's why I love this group, because you're so energetic, you're so enthusiastic. and maybe you'll shift me around, and I'm I'm not an indigo, but I'm one of those other people that like,
we're people. We're all people. So
crystal people, blah 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 people.
Yeah,
whatever.
But I mean, I think it is.
We all want peace on Earth. We want good times. We want happy times. We want nice, hi, how are you times. That's what I was brought up with. Right? Yes.
But living from the heart.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's so simple, but people make it so complicated. It's like,
no, you're absolutely right. It's very simple.
Smile. Take a breath.
Okay. I put it out, but I put my smile out.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, sorry, go ahead, Barbara. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I don't want to tie up your phones. I'm just really touched that I locked into your group, because I now have hope for the future generations. And I think I love you're a lot of young people. You have a lot of beautiful ideas, and I want to be a part of it, and I'll help you in any way I can. I just been through it, a little bit more than you guys have.
And you know what? Like, I do thank you for everything you do. And when I say you, I mean literally like everyone who has come before us. And I mean, if you really want to look at this, like, we are the byproduct of generations and generations. But I mean, yes, we are walking in the footprints of those who came before us. And I think that's where, for me, it's really interesting, because you can sort of look back and just like see like how the system is sort of transformed. And I think for a lot of people in my position just being like an age demographic of like the young 20s, we sort of like see our parents, and they're in that job, they're just sort of working 9 to 5, and they've been in that system for so long, and because they have made so many sacrifices, and like this is the key, because they have made so many sacrifices for us, for me, like for us to be fed and have a roof, it is giving us the opportunity to make the most with the freedoms that we have, so that we can help give hope and liberate as many people as we can. Like, that is like the one thing that I really just remind myself of as much as I can, is the fact that like I am in a first world country, I have a computer, I have access to technology, I have an incredible chance to make a difference, and I'm not going to waste it. And for people listening, like,
cool.
You said it well, Barbara. You used the word hope, and I think that is exactly what this is about. We need to give the people hope, and through hope, it gives them just inspiration, because this started off small. I mean, this literally started off with like me and like 3 other buddies in my college like 5 years ago, and now we have this beautiful network of amazing people such as yourself. So.
And they're going to get bigger. I'm going to make sure. We're going to help you out with that shit.
Yeah, and that is the intention.
You're going to get bigger.
And that is the intention.
I don't want you to get negative, but just get bigger.
Yeah, and another thing I remind myself, and we'll move the conversation along, is the idea that popularity and success are 2 different things. So, I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome to be popular. It's awesome to have like 100,000 people who are listening.
Exactly.
But I would much rather have like 1,000 people who are serious about engaging and taking on responsibility than 100,000 people who are just like twiddling their thumbs, so to speak, like, but at the same time, those 100,000 people are still being exposed to the information, and that seed is still planted, and perhaps they'll find it within themselves to step into that role eventually. But with the time being, 1,000 people who are serious about taking action all across the globe, like, there's a lot that we can do about it, because it only takes one person to start up a paradigm shift community where you are. So again, for the people listening to this, like, go to the main website, just browse around, check it out, and if it's something you're thinking about, then we are here to support you. Like, we have an awesome community behind it.
Yeah,
the success of one is the success of many.
You guys do. Yeah. I try to get my little nephews, they're like 17, 18, and they're like that age group where they could hook in and
the younger
understand.
Kids too,
Keep them
keep them
get them
the
ready.
younger ones.
The older older ones, they sometimes you're going to meet up with some older people that have like a taste in the mouth, or they're going to be fresh, or they're just not going to be. They're going to say things that are not cool.
Yeah. All right.
So they're going to try to wipe out that enthusiasm for you guys.
Got to translate
no,
it,
sweetheart. No, I'm very happy I hooked up with you guys because I love kids. So at my age now, you guys are kids to me, and I think you're doing a wonderful job. And
thank you.
I want to help you market yourself out.
Yeah,
and I'll do what I can do.
Absolutely, and
that's all I can do.
And of course, beyond the computers, there's also the posters on the website. So for yourself or for anybody, if you go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com/tools, I've made it very accessible for people to just download.
I'm going to check it out. I'll check it out.
Yeah. And there's black and white ones too. So if you don't want to print more
I'll forward
black and white,
to my nephews. I mean, because they have to be the forebearers, bearers of this wonderful message. And,
absolutely.
I put you in touch with a couple of radio show hosts, but you got to look at who they're hosting, and then get them and get some of those. But don't go negative. Don't go negative. You guys are too charged up. They're too charged up.
We'll keep it balanced. Is all I will say.
Keep it charged up.
We'll keep it charged up and balanced and moving forward.
Keep it positive.
Cool.
All right, sweetheart. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks
again, for taking
Barbara.
my call.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye. All right, bye, hon. Bye.
All right, Diane, you're still with us here. Diane, I do have another friend who I'm going to bring on in a minute, but I don't want to just bump you off within too quick or anything. Was there anything, I mean, just on the top of your head that you just wanted to say without me even having to ask you a question? Just whatever.
I just want to say thank you for sharing your light. I share the light as well, and it's just really good to see this getting out there more.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's amazing. And I'm going to be getting some of your buttons and showing them as well.
Oh, okay. Perfect. All right.
I didn't realize how young you were when I looked up your stuff, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. That getting to the younger, because a lot of the blog talk stuff, people are older, and it's like, I'm almost 35 myself, but I was like, oh, that is so cool, It's like I went to Australia, and that's where I really found myself, in Byron Bay, and oh gosh, it was just incredible. So anyway, but I don't want to keep up time. Thank you so much. Keep on keeping on, and I will as well.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Diane.
All right. I'll keep listening. Have a good night.
Okay. We'll see you in the live chat. Thanks.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. So wonderful to hear from Barbara and Diane calling in. And again, just gratitude and appreciation for everybody who is, kind of thinking what they were saying. And of course, thank you to everybody who is a part of this show. So, I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for. But there's also a lot to do. There's a lot to get done. And we can't just sit here just like gloating and basking in our pride. We have to be able to just keep moving forward. So, I mean, yes, we've proven ourselves time and time again, but that does not mean that there's not work to do tomorrow. So just keep moving forward. Remember, like every great challenge is just training for the next one. So be water, my friends. So I'm going to bring on Noah. So Noah, if you're ready, I'm going to bring you on, and we'll see. I'm going to keep my eye open to see if Scott Love is tuned in, because I did promise him that we're going to bring him on slightly after 10 p.m. So I'm just keeping an eye open for him, but we got a few minutes here. And we do have another caller in the queue, but we'll just play it by ear. I'm just going to bring on Noah one at a time, because Noah, I know he's got plenty to say. So, Noah, I'm going to bring you onto the air. Here we go. Yo, Noah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, Noah, just say something. I'm just trying to get an idea of what your sound is like.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, it kind of sounds like hollow, but I mean we can still hear you. So that's okay. So, all right. Well, Noah, man, like you were there first. You were there firsthand last night when I was doing my Shiftivism stuff, my free hugs on the corner of downtown London for the bar scene, and obviously when we were doing that last night, we were intentionally reaching out to the college and university students. So there was a lot of people who I was interacting with who were within our age demographic and really eager to be able to find more people who are interested in learning and discussing these type of esoteric information and just information in general. But I'll ask you, what do you have to say about what you observed last night from the Shiftivism towards global world peace?
Well, first of all, it was quite incredible just to see the amount
hold on. No, I think you're too loud. People in the live chat confirmed as I was like too loud, so maybe just move a little bit away from the mic.
Perfect. Is that good now?
I guess so. I mean, people in the live chat, you guys tell me if that's okay, but go ahead, just keep talking. So.
Yeah, it was just honestly amazing it wasn't even so much the people that came up to Saul that was better, even though that was amazing, but it was amazing the amount of people across the street when we were filming that were asking us questions like, what are you guys doing? What is he doing about these free hugs? Why is he doing it, kind of thing. That happened a few different times.
I did not notice that. That's new to me.
it kind of brings in the layer of the indirect results of these kinds of things. You think, oh, it's just the people that hug, but it's the little things in the people across the street that really were very interested as well as to what you were doing and were asking me about what paradigm shift was and what it meant to me, and so it was really incredible to see, and just tackling that kind of environment where the energy there is so different than a paradigm shift meeting, but just going out there and just being like that little like interference pattern, so to speak, in their reality, because they may never have like seen someone do that in that manner before while going out to the bar in London. So it's just and I see what you're talking about with this matrix, is that you're really just being this interference pattern, and it's almost funny. I was laughing at it because that was me 3 years ago. Walking on those streets 3 years ago, if I saw you, I just wonder what I would have done. Because I was, in terms of that, one person had to bring up one thing for me, and that opened up a whole world. So it's just incredible to see that little seed that's planted and how that affects, someone's entire life in ways that you may not even know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, absolutely, man. Like, I mean, just to literally, like, emphasize, like, when people find out about the paradigm shift community in London, like, because we have such a thing going on, it really does, like, start a new chapter in their life. Like, suddenly things just, like, really get, like, pretty exciting for them. First of all, they have something to really look forward to, like, on Friday. And the whole community thing is just, like, really just, like, incredibly empowering. And they're just like, holy crap, I didn't know this existed. This is exactly what I was looking for. And that's the case, right? Like, the people who come up and they hug me, like, those people are the ones who are on the level. And when people hug me, like, I say this to them, I'm like, I give them a genuine hug, which is always great, and then I'm like, congratulations, you passed the test, and I'm like, I passed the test, and then I'm like, yeah, and now you get a free button, oh my god, and it's just like so like genuinely happy, and it's like just you see it light up in their eyes, and then the next part, I'm like, yeah, grab a button, and then it's like, oh, by the way, invitation to an open-minded discussion meditation group, and there's like, whoa, like I meditate, and that's. I started getting into conversations with quite a few of the people who came up to me there, and one guy was like, yeah, like I was like, I like learned how to meditate in another country and everything like that. So I mean, I think there's the people. Not everyone meditates, but I mean, quite probably more than we realize do. But they're just like not really talking. We're not really talking to each other. But now, through this, we're creating a portal for us to be able to find each other, for us to be able to find our other shifter pals. But yeah, no, go ahead, man. Just, I mean, without me even have to ask you a question, just, I'm sure you got plenty to say about it.
For sure, especially related to hugs. One thing, and I think we've spoken about this before off the air, but I wanted to share it with people here. For me, and I think for a lot of other people, this transition can, as great as it is and as liberating as it may be, I feel that it really can bring division between you and people that might not be interested in the things that you are, or between you and old relationships, or between you and family members. And I just wanted to say, because I struggled with this for a while too, was essentially this path isn't anything more than opening up your heart space and really embodying the characteristics and the cultivation of being essentially peace on earth. And what does that mean? It doesn't necessarily just mean that you have these incredible meditative experiences and lucid dreams and whatever it is that you're interested in, but essentially you are just cultivating that inner part of you that is human, and that higher consciousness. If it's, if you want to say it's connected to Source, God, or whatever you want to say, it's nothing more than the emulation of being a genuine human being. And I think that one thing that's really underemphasized is within all of these spiritual traditions that people are learning from, be it Eastern or Western, that the fundamental aspect, not only of the entire tradition, but of even getting into these deeper meditative states, into these higher states of consciousness, is the cultivation of that sense of morality and that sense of goodness within oneself. And so I'm really just sending out this message, just like these interference patterns of saying, look, if you're seeing division and problems within your family and this level of potential hate that is going on with friends or old friends or anything, know that that's not bringing you closer to where you want to be, and that you should really understand that the inner world, outer world reflection, it's so important to realize that it's still you. It's still many things that you are causing. And if this path is bringing you to separate yourself from people that genuinely care about you, I honestly urge us, in terms of peace, if you can't have peace in the home or peace with your friends and your family, then this whole path is for naught. And I really would love to emphasize that, because it's such an important aspect of this whole thing, and it's such an important aspect of our health, to be in a healthy environment with healthy friends and a healthy family. And I don't mean to say that, you may have problems with family that are deep-rooted way beyond this, but honestly, for a long time, I really believed that, my family was at fault. They were not accepting me or whatever. But what it comes down to is, even if it's like that, the second I withdrew that anger from the relationship, it totally transformed in incredible ways.
Yeah, you do bring up a good point, and I'm not sure. We talked about this in the admin meetings, but there's like another term that I use. So again, we have like shiftivism, shifty stuff, shift tools, like shifters, like all that stuff, and we're talking about matrices and everything, and we're talking about like hacking the matrix. One term that I also work into this whole concept and understanding, and Noah, just be careful when you're typing. We can hear you typing, by the way.
Ooh, okay.
Just giving you a heads up. But another term that I use is like Agent Smith. So when I'm talking about Agent Smith, I'm not talking about just like one person. What I'm talking about is like an actual like energy that seems to like go against, that seems to resist when consciousness starts waking itself up, which is totally evident all throughout history. I mean, people start waking up and some sort of energy just starts sort of like trying to hold it back. It tries to keep it in. It's like, as if like there's like this like beaming like ball of light, and then there's like these hands just trying to like cusp it. So it's like it's you can refer to it as the darkness or whatever, but it's almost like some sort of like threshold or guardian or something like that. So I mean, when you're like out and about and you're doing stuff, you'd be like, oh, like gotta be mindful of Agent Smith when you're out there giving free hugs and stuff like that. And when I say Agent Smith, an example of that is when people see you and they sort of like give you those glares, and there's like, like, like free hugs, like what the hell is this about? Like this actually happened to me not last night, but when I was downtown during the middle of the day, and I went down to like the middle of downtown, and it's kind of a rougher area, you could say, and I was downtown there, and within the short time that I was downtown there, like two different people threatened to punch me, and I was like, okay, like, and it's not that I didn't expect that to happen. I'm not that naive, but at the same time, it's just like you have to be mindful of that possibility. Like one guy was literally like, free hugs, like how about a free punch in the face? And then I'm just like, okay, like I don't get pissed off or anything about it. Like I just, just expand like that like heart bubble like even a little bit more, but then know when it's the right time to walk away, because like even Neo had to run away from Agent Smith when circumstances were circumstances. So just be very mindful of that Agent Smith energy that is out there. And for those of you, and I'll pass this off to Noah in a second, like for those of you who have obviously, okay, so you've seen the movie The Matrix, you know what Agent Smith is. For those of you who have seen Cloud Atlas, that movie, which was done by the same people who did The Matrix, you'll actually notice that the guy who played Agent Smith in The Matrix plays the Agent Smith energy within Cloud Atlas. Like that whole movie is about like sort of consciousness kind of becoming aware and waking itself up, and he plays like all these different characters that are trying to like hold consciousness back, or trying to like hold and retain the light from like it bursting out of its seams kind of thing. So it's just, again, kind of it's a thing, and you guys tell me if that makes sense to you, and if that's the case, then just work that into your mindset of how you sort of perceive things, of just being aware of like where that Agent Smith energy is coming from, and not to take it too personally when it does, and to be able to understand like how to work around it and everything. So yeah, you just got to be mindful of your surroundings. Like any hacker, the best thing he can do is understand the system that he's working within, and by understanding it, he can not necessarily even have to exploit it, but rather to be able to like surf his way through it with optimal efficiency. So I mean, take that and apply it to video games too. Like just, it's kind of, that's the mindset where I'm coming from, like hacker mentality and like video games and all that stuff. But I like what you said, kind of creating an interference pattern within the Matrix. It's really awesome.
Like Skull, on that point, I actually happen to have some friends listening right now. I think they're probably watching football. They're doing whatever they're doing.
Well, and your audio is just a little loud. Just I'm not trying to cut you off, but yeah, just don't yell too loud.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're like getting me. Oh, like we want to hear you talk or whatever, and like it is an interference pattern for them, because they may be like, oh, who is this guy? What's he talking about on this random radio show? And like there may be little tidbits that they just like pick up on or like remember, but like it's just so funny when it all comes down to it. But on that note, for sure, I definitely understand what you were saying about that Smith character. And it's very important to just be aware of when people are just genuinely afraid to hear something that really goes against the box that they've built within their mind. Yeah. But at the same time, I think that what breaks that box best is a loving intention. Right. So there's a way to bring up things. There's a way to speak to people. There's a way to connect to people. Right. And the more you do it in a heart-based way, then the more you can actually get through that matrix. Because deep down, if love is stronger than Mr. Agent Smith or whatnot, then to get through that, I guess, portal is to come into the heart space. And so maybe, you have to know who you're speaking to. So for a lot of people, bringing up something that is totally beyond their heads will totally drive them to become that Agent Smith. But if you bring things up in a way where it's coming from love, even like, so what are you living for? What makes you happy? What parts of your life, keep you motivated to do things in this world? What do you want to do with your life? Because you know what? As much as like that question seems so basic, I've had people say, you know what? I've never been asked that before, and that is just such a question that no one's going to be like, well, oh, that's threatening. You know what I mean? Like, it shows that you care about somebody, and it also shows, okay, look, like, at the end of the day, I may be interested in these weird things for some people's eyes or minds, but at the same time, I am just trying to become a more loving, kind, and wise person, and that's all that it is at the end of the day. That's all that all these traditions and all these spiritual teachings are. And if it's not bringing you to that level, then it's not what was meant to be out of this higher consciousness. You know, like it all has to be grounded back into the world of action. So these deep states or whatever that people are trying to cultivate so within themselves, if they can't be brought back to the world, then they don't really have much of a use in cultivating. And not to say that it's not great to have them. I love those kind of experiences. But ultimately, I always try to ground myself back to the physical. Because if I'm trying to reach, to source or to the deeper parts of myself, I already am that. Whether or not I fully realize it in this world, I don't know. But the thing that I can do the most is to cultivate that part of my higher self into the physical as much as I can.
Yeah, into practice acting and embodying and demonstrating it too. I think a lot of people will have these similar ideas that you're talking about too, but how do we practice being that which you speak of? And one of the ways I think we do that is by kind of going outside of our comfort zone and going into those places. I mean, it's funny because I mean, for those of my buddies who have, you know, I've done the free hugs thing, and then I encourage them to do it too, and even just my buddy Jesse at Paradigm Shift Fanshawe, he was just like, we were having a conversation, he was just talking back, he's like, yeah, you know, like within that first moment when you're just pulling out the free hug sign, like for the very first time, there's just a part of you that's just like, what the hell am I doing? Like this is just really weird and stupid, and it's like, but then like once you actually get into it and you get like a couple hugs in, you're like, whoa, this is fun, like this is actually like really exciting, like how come I haven't been doing this all along kind of thing. So you just sort of like get outside your bubble, and I agree, like a big part of this Shiftivism thing is like we can't force people to awaken. We can't, it doesn't work that way. And that's why like the free hugs and the button and the pamphlet tactic is so effective, because I'm not like trying to stand there and like walk around like handing out like, hey, like here, like take this pamphlet, like here you go. Like I don't have enough pamphlets to do that, first of all. But like by standing there with the free hugs, like the people who are on that path are the people who connect with you. And I know I've already said that, but like that is just the, and when you work that in with this idea of like synchronicity, like you just really understand that in any moment, if you go downtown, like even just sometime this week, and you stand there with a free hug sign, you will connect with someone. If you do your part to make yourself visible, you will find at least one other person, and that will be worth your while. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
You could be anywhere. You could be on the street.
Oh, yeah.
You could be at school. You could be,
totally.
in a park. You could be anywhere. Absolutely anywhere, and do these things, whether it be a free hugs, whether it be a sign, just to get an interesting conversation with people going. Like, even like a sign, ask me a question. Like, just like it's so random, and you could just end up having the most incredible conversations. And like, it happens with people all the time. I get people's numbers all the time, and I just start talking to them about just random stuff. Be like, oh, yeah, you want to get together? Like, you want to have a talk? And we'll go to the park. And then all of a sudden, I make a connection. And I have all these connections now into so many different things because I'm not afraid to speak to people. I'm not afraid to plant that seed. But it's also like, it's a little bit of a game the way you do it.
There's a strategy to it,
There's definitely a strategy. But yeah, like at the end of the day, I just think, you know, the most amazing thing you could do is your self-development, is your self-work, and it's not to neglect this whole world peace thing, but at the same time, like, I just keep noticing it. Like, for example, tonight, I was trying to get the Skype set up, and I got a little bit antsy and angry at my girlfriend for a second. I was like, what? Like, even that small little thing is creating the seeds of anger, and the seeds of anger are the seeds of death, and even in the smallest little way, I am contributing to the overall chaos of the world by doing that in a tiny little way. But it's still a microcosm of the greater picture.
In the same way, that's like what we're talking about tonight. It's the exact opposite. By giving a smile and giving a hug, you're contributing to the entire upliftment of consciousness as a whole.
Oh yeah, in incredible ways, in ways that we can't comprehend.
Yeah, the ripples, man. The ripples.
Exactly. and you know, this isn't a new problem or a new issue. I mean, the global connectivity, it's all just a reflection of of what we can do beyond the technology. So we're just allowing ourselves now to connect in ways that we hadn't before. So, you know, being on this radio show is a form of telekinesis, because I'm not really seeing you right now, and I'm not really, you know, in a physical location that is beside you, and yet I could still technically see you if we were on a video chat, and I'm talking across the world and connecting. So it's just a reflection of our interconnectivity, and it's not a new thing that people are trying to create, you know, peace in the world. Of course it's not, but that's not the point. It's not the point that it's not been accomplished yet. The reason why it hasn't is because 6 billion people don't believe it yet. That's the world. It's just 6 billion of us, and so it may just be time, but to realize that we are in a little matrix, and to me that means is, look, we're just in a reality that is so just me and you and 6 billion other people creating it. And so if I start to say I don't believe that world peace could ever happen, then essentially it won't happen, because it's such an ingrained belief within me that it would never be uprooted. So it's a very tricky thing. It's a very tricky concept, but it's not entirely hopeless. And it may be 1,000 years, maybe 1,000 years until we see the results of paradigm shift. You know, it doesn't need to be. Not everything is going to be seen in your lifetime potentially, but it's not our job to neglect. Even though it's not our job to finish it, it's not our job to neglect what needs to be done right now in small ways, and we don't know how that's going to affect the global scheme. But we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. I think a really cool term that works within this is the idea of social alchemy. So again, we've talked about alchemy in the past. Alchemy is this transmutation from one form to another, from lead to gold, from negative to positive, or positive to negative. It goes any way you want. So I mean, social alchemy is what, again, it's right in line with Shiftivism. Like, Shiftivism is social alchemy. It's creating these opportunities, these portals, and these seed planting scenarios. So I mean, yeah, again, just to give people more concepts for understanding, like, what it is that they totally have the potential to do. And again, we can do this within schools, we can do this like within like streets, we can do this anywhere. Like, it's just such an awesome thing. But Noah, I think I'm gonna have to let you go just for now, because we do got a couple other people coming on to the air. Was there anything else that you just wanted to mention before we let you go?
Yeah, just one last quick thing was just to always remember that, you know, we don't need to adapt more ideologies. We don't need to necessarily adapt things that we add to our identity, and just that it's more about how we embody these things, and not that we are quote unquote spiritual people, or we are not quote unquote spiritual people, because there are a lot of spiritual people that don't say that they're spiritual, because they're just very loving, warming, connected people. They don't need to say that, because it's not something that they are, it's something that they do, and that's how I'd love to leave it off.
Okay, man. Cool.
Anyway.
Cool. Well, Noah, I look forward to catching up with you again next time, and drink your space light. So.
I will drink my space light, and that's another.
Right. That's another awesome thing. I'll talk about space light real quick. So. All right, I'll let you go, man. Take care. All right, see you now. All right. Yeah, no, I hooked on Friday. Me and Noah were hanging out, and I was originally going to do Shiftivism stuff on Friday, but it was raining. It was crazy monsoon, so it was like just divine providence that it didn't happen that night. But as a result, we hung out, and I ended up giving Noah some space light. And for those of you who have not heard of this, like, the reason why I wanted to tell you about this within the show, so I'm just going to tell you within a minute. Spacelight is a natural alkaline health and electrolyte formula, and I just recently had reconfirmation that it actually does do awesome stuff. I mean, I already knew this, but I experienced it firsthand. And what Spacelight is something that was created by my buddy Joe in Vancouver. He's been on a past episode. It was episode 30-something or 40-something. And you can go to paradigmshiftcentral.com/spacelight, LITE, not LIGHT, and you can check out the movie that I did with him. But one of the things that Spacelight is great for is balancing out your pH levels. And this is something you're going to hear more and more people talking about, because it's actually becoming more common within conversation, how important our pH level balances relative to just like optimal health and everything like that. So what the space light does, it helps get potassium into your system, but the potassium is in such a unique form that it's actually able to dilute in water. And since it can dilute in water, it's actually able to like bring oxygen into our individual cells and like repair our cells from like that microcellular level. And in the process of doing that, it's just like creating a more optimal system for our body to be able to heal itself and for our muscles to be able to grow. And one of the amazing things about it, and this is where I had my recent experience with it, is that it's also an antacid. So I mean, we eat a lot of acidic food, and really like Spacelight is like a tool to help give us back the edge that society has been taking away from us. So in themes with global shiftivism, like I want you guys to be on your game. Spacelight will help like bring you up to your optimal game, because a lot of us have been like eating crappy food for like so long, and oftentimes it's hard to even find like proper food these days, and we've been drinking pop. I mean, not I haven't for a while, but some of us have, and because of that, our bodies are just kind of out of whack. Whereas like Spacelight helps bring us back into like optimal alignment, and it is like natural. It's all like natural stuff, and it's awesome because you just dilute it in water, and you can just like drink it like before workouts, and you get longer endurance. So what I experienced with it is also the fact that it helps with plaque growth on teeth, and it prevents like acidic buildup. So a few weeks ago, like I actually had like a toothache, or even just last week, I think I had like a toothache, which is very rare for me, but I guess it was because of like some food that I was eating, and it was just like really bothering me, and it was painful. And then I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm just going to treat this with Spacelight. So did that, and then like within like the next like 2 days, like literally like my toothache was gone, and my tooth is fine now. So I mean, for anybody out there who has like even something as simple as a toothache, then I recommend getting yourself some Spacelight. And if you want to just message me on Facebook about it more, I do have some that you can order from me, or you can order it from Joe. It's obviously completely illegal. It's like bio-stealth technology. It's like some next level stuff. Not everyone knows about it. If you're listening to Paradigm Shift Radio, you are in the know, and obviously I want you guys to get a hold of it, and you can get it through the website. Just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see it in the supply box. So again, check that out. That is like one of the tools that will help us like really optimize our performance within this reality. So just a little plug there for Spacelight, and I haven't talked about it in a while, so I'm glad I could share that with you guys. And moving on here, I would like to bring on our friend Monica a little bit later, and also Brianna a little bit later to no, Spacelight is not illegal. Spacelight is completely legal. Someone just asked in the live chat, so just to confirm, yeah, it's totally legal. Like if you were taking it on a plane, you would just say like it's just like hygienic. It's just like, you know, like oral hygienic, or just like an electrolyte supplement. So I mean, I've taken it on planes. It's totally cool. So we're gonna bring on Monica and Brianna in a bit. I'll bring on Chris actually first, and Chris is actually, he's in high school, I'm pretty sure, and he's one of the admins for Paradigm Shift Texas, or Houston, Texas, I think. And I was just gonna hear from him on how what's been up on his end recently. And obviously, for those of you listening, you'll know that you'll realize Scott Love hasn't been on the show just yet. I am not entirely sure where what his current situation is, so we may or may not hear from him. But with that said, I'll just mention this now. I've already talked about 3 Days of Light is an amazing festival and retreat happening in Hot Springs, North Carolina in October. I want to say like October 10th or 11th or 13th or 14th, just within that frame. And it is something that is incredibly amazing. And for people who actually want to win free tickets, this is like the big thing. For people who want to win free tickets, we are giving 2 tickets away. We'll be giving those away next week. To enter for the draw, simply message facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio and just say like, hey, I want to be entered into the draw. So if you're within driving distance of the North Carolina area and have nothing planned that weekend, and you know, this is an amazing opportunity to connect with a lot of other shifters out there, and a lot of other like soul family, and it'll change your life. So an amazing experience. Cannot say enough about how great 3DL is. You can check out the movie to get a taste of it in the meantime on the movies page on the website, and of course enter in for the draw for your chance to win. And we'll be giving away 2 free tickets to 3DL 2013. So, and Scott, big shout out to you for everything you do. So 3dlgathering.com, the number 3dlgathering.com. So I'm going to bring on Chris, and like I said, we'll bring on Chris. Chris, let's chat for a few minutes, and then we'll see if Monica's around, and we'll bring on Monica and Brianna, and then I'm going to bring on Eric a little bit afterwards, and Eric is the magician who created the Howl at the Full Moon, Once in a Full Moon, own audio project, and he's going to be talking about that, and we're going to be sharing that in the later half of the show. And just since I'm taking this moment to talk about everything news-wise, I did mention that I was going to announce who our guests will be next week. And you'll hear more about this later on, just to make sure that it will be confirmed. But our guests for next week are going to be the twin sisters Gianna and Genevieve Lightworker. So big shout out to them. You can find them at Crystal Starseed 444, I believe, I'm pretty sure, on YouTube and as well as on Facebook. And I'll post a link for that into the show notes and as well as into the live chat. And yeah, they are just, I mean, first of all, they're twins, which is just awesome. So they're like Starseed Lightworker twins, and they're just really in tune. They've been putting out a lot of awesome videos that you should check out on YouTube, and just really just like awesome and amazing. And I'm looking forward to having that conversation with them. So we'll get there when we get there. But in the meantime, feel free to check that out and even get in touch with them. So from there, let's move on and let's bring on Chris. So Chris, if you're ready, here we go. Hello, is this Tony Stark? Is this Chris? Chris, are you ready? Hello, Chris. Okay, after that, Chris, okay, can you hear me? He's like typing in the chat, but he's not talking. No, we can't hear you, dude. But I can hear you breathing. What the heck? Chris, just use your words, man. Hello? Check. Check, check. Ping. Pong. Breaker 19. Red 5. Reporting in. Okay, Chris, I'm pretty sure I can... Okay. Chris, I'm muting you. Alright, you had your chance. You let me know, Chris, when you're ready. No, we'll go from there. I'm pretty sure... I don't know. Maybe he was just, like, putting his... pants on or something. That's happened before. So, but anyways, just a reminder to check out the main website. And if you want to connect with all the awesome people within the Paradigm Shift community, one of the best ways to do that is to join the admin group. And we have admin hangouts, and we broadcast those live, and you can check out those through the main website. And it's really just an awesome way to hang out, talk with other shifters, and to just have conversation and start exchanging ideas about how to take action within your own community. So Chris, let me know when you're ready, and we'll bring you back on to the air any minute now. And still waiting to see what what Monica is up to, but just want to do this in order. So, Chris, I'm going to bring you back onto the air. Okay, here we go. Hi, Chris? Hello? All right. Okay, it sounds like he's there and he's not talking, but it's something to do with his mic, because I know his mic does work. All right, Chris, it looks like it's not working for you tonight, which is unusual. Weird. Okay. Chris, I feel like I just want to like yell at you to say something, because it sounds like you're there, but you're not saying anything. So I can like almost hear my echo. If you want, you can call in with a phone. Do that real quick. Check your settings, man. I'm gonna mute you again. Unusual. So, oh well. Okay, Chris is going to use his phone, so we still got 30 minutes in the show. We're not in too much of a rush. Some other things. What were some other things I was going to mention? I feel like there were a couple things. Oh, of course. I'll take this moment to remind you to sign up for Paradigm Shift Plus. Paradigm Shift Plus is a new service that will be launching very soon, once I sort of get enough backing behind it and enough momentum and enough time to produce some epic bonus content. But you can go to paradigmshiftcentral.com/PSR Plus to sign up for a Plus membership, and a Plus membership will get you access to exclusive Paradigm Shift Radio bonus content, including some audiobooks that I'll be reading. So I mean, not audiobooks, but it'll be me putting out audio files of me reading some awesome books, while also giving some insight and some reflection on what it is that we're talking about. So if you enjoy listening to this radio show, if you want to like fall asleep listening to my voice, or just whatever it is that you need to do, then please consider becoming a PSR Plus member, and the funds raised from that go towards supporting the production of Paradigm Shift Radio and the regular costs that it takes to make this show, just through hosting and everything else, because obviously this is entirely just community inspired and organized, and we want to help create a sustainable system and something that's going to be able to keep lasting for the years to come. So, Chris, should I try? I don't know. Chris, are you from caller area code 713? I presume you are. Okay, Chris, I'm bringing you on. So let's try and get it right this time. Here we go. Hi, Chris.
Hello. Am I good now? Am I okay?
We're good. You're here. Welcome to the internet.
Tony Stark is having technical problems. All right.
Yeah, it happens. Okay, man. All right. Well, Chris, welcome to the show. One of my fellow admins. So, Chris, I mean, you're in high school, right? Is that?
Oh yeah. A senior.
Oh yeah. Well, you tell me, man. I mean, what can you say from your experience in high school that can be sort of thought as like encouraging words for other people in high school that you know, in theme with what we're talking about today, global shiftivism. Like, what can we do within our high schools to help reach out to other people and create?
Well, I mean, you can put some subconscious like things out there. Like what I do, I decorate like my backpack with certain things. Like I wrote love and I put the Om symbol on there. And then whenever I have like class projects that usually happen at the beginning of the year, it's like do stuff that explains who you are as a person. And I usually put Shiftivism stuff in there, you know. And it's just little subconscious things that come up.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You want to add that little seed, you know. You don't want to go out and blast people with it. Like, because I have friends, well, I have one friend that I know of that her mom and her aunt are really into this stuff, but they blasted her with it as a child, so now she's really rejected it. And she'll see me like drawing Flower of Life, Metatron's Cube, and she'll be like, why? No, I can't. Just
oh, yeah. Well, that's interesting.
So it's just, you gotta do things easily.
Yeah, there's a subtlety that I think we have to keep in mind, again, with what we do. I mean, sometimes we gotta sort of like shake people. I mean, there is a time and a place, because sometimes people need that. They need a little shake to wake up. But I mean, other times it's just sort of like as simple as like leaving pamphlets on picnic tables and then walking away from them and then letting synchronicity do the rest, where people will pick it up and be like, hey, what's this? Ooh, a website. Okay, I'll check it out. So, I mean, that's definitely, I mean, especially now that we got the pamphlet files up on the tools part of the website, Chris, I would totally encourage you to like cut some of those up and just like place them around your school in random spots. That would be like, that'd be key. Yeah.
I'm actually going to start a club if I can find a teacher, and basically I'm going to do like a meditation club and do all this other stuff, and yeah, become the school guru, so to speak.
so to speak. Yeah, I mean, if you can get a paradigm shift thing going inside your school as like an official club, that's key, because then you can start having like the regular meetings, and that'll be great for people to be able to know that they exist. And like I said, it's having that open door aspect to it. Like, if you build it, they will come. Like, that's such a important thing, because not everyone, there's a time and a place, and not everyone's like ready to jump down the rabbit hole yet. They just need to like get their feet a little bit wet. So it's good to have that. But yeah, like, Chris, I mean, from your firsthand experience, like, what are the kids like these days? You know, with their like iPhones and their like crappy music and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that's like, what? Give me a feel for it on what it's looking like from the inside.
Well, from here,
like, where's the hope?
there's hope,
there.
And there's some hope, but then again, like, it's complicated, because you can't really put anything into a box. Like, there's some kids that have trouble and they're actually really good, and there's some kids that are really good but they're kind of assholes. So it's like, you gotta just find the weird people like me, and I have my own friends, and then we like have an outreach. It's like, some people think I'm crazy and they think I have an outrageous style, but I mean, I'm just doing what I want to do, and I tell them that, and then I let them know. So
go ahead.
Okay, like, there is some hope.
There is. Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was in high school, like, I was interested in this type of stuff, but I mean, like, I wasn't, you know, I didn't really like sort of like wake up until I was like kind of, you know, like a few years after high school kind of thing. But I mean, we were sort of, I mean, I sort of say this in an odd way, but for myself, I was fortunate to be so young when 9/11 happened, because 9/11 was like a big part of my awakening, as well as a lot of other people's awakening, simply because because that created like the portal for me to like start looking up conspiracy theories, and then that just took me down the rabbit hole and through the Bohemian Grove and through Alex Jones and into Kymatica and into like Flower of Life stuff and time travel and all sorts of amazing other like explorative, just awesome information. So I mean, yeah, like for kids these days, they haven't had something that just like shook the core in the same ways. So I mean, yeah, we just gotta be a little bit more creative with how we can reach out to people. But definitely, Chris, I would recommend state the obvious, like hand out pamphlets, like don't even hand them out, just like put them in weird places, like literally put them in weird places, like put them inside people's lockers, because they won't know you did it. Like they'll have no idea unless they like listen to the episode and backtrack. I think they might. It was the guy in the Iron Man suit. I'm telling you.
Oh my God, dude! You don't even know. Oh.
Okay. We'll save it for another episode.
Yeah,
right,
we'll put up pictures and stuff.
Yeah, posters are key, man. Especially since I got the rip-off tabs. But yeah, Chris, I was just gonna say, we time's kind of clicking down, and we're gonna bring on Monica and Brianna, and we still got to bring on Eric. If you don't mind, was there anything else that you just want to add, and we'll sort of move on here?
Yeah, real quick, I'd just like to say, the whole Shiftivism thing on World Peace Day, I couldn't do that because it was raining like Satan outside.
Oh, really?
And what my philosophy has always been, it's kind of been like with Christmas, you should always give and you should always just love people, and I've always done that. You don't need a special day for it, but I think it's great. I think you should just live in that kind of way all the time. Yeah. Yeah,
definitely. Cool. So for anybody in the Houston, Texas area, connect with Chris at ParadigmShiftCentral.com Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftHouston, Texas is where you can connect with Chris through there. And cool, man. All right. Okay. Thanks, Chris. All right.
Good night.
Keep your pants on. Bye.
What?
What? All right. Okay, we're going to bring on Monica, and then we're going to bring on Brianna. So for everybody listening to the show, I hope you're having fun. And this is like just a really cool example. I knew this is what was going to happen tonight since we didn't have a guest on, and I'm glad we didn't have a guest on because it is a platform for us to use the show for one of the ways that we intended to do. Obviously, having guests on is an amazing experience for everybody, but it's also great for us, just the regular shifters within the community to be able to get our voices out there and just to continue to practice inspiring one another. So with that said, I'm going to bring on Monica and I'm going to bring on Brianna. Monica from Paradigm Shift Chicago and Brianna, who is in Livonia, Michigan, and they're going to talk about what they got up to on World Peace Day. And we'll bring on Eric shortly after that, and we'll sort of finish off the show with the Howl at the Full Moon sound project. So Monica, if you're ready, bringing you on now. Hello, Monica. Hello.
Hello.
All right. Okay. And I'm good, Monica. How are you?
Good. Fantastic.
Awesome. So, Monica, do you got a story to share about what you got up to on World Peace Day?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Well, let's wait 1 second, and we'll bring on Brianna too. Okay, Brianna, if you're ready, we're bringing you onto the show. Here we go. Brianna, hey.
Hey,
welcome back.
Monica, I miss you. I miss you.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, you guys kind of know what we're doing here. So, I'd love to hear. Just tell the people what you guys got up to on World Peace Day. What sort of success, what sort of experiences you had, maybe even what sort of challenges were present, or just what you got out of it in general. So, I'll throw it to Monica first, and then Brianna kind of just jump in, segue, do whatever. So, go ahead, Monica.
All right, so yesterday it was kind of a day of colorful experiences. All kinds of things went down. But I was going out to Buckingham Fountain, holding up signs, one of them being "Open Your Heart," and then "As you think, so shall you become." And as I'm heading over there, there's this one little park that there were new sculptures up at, and I walk over and there's these kids doing parkour. So I was like, well, perfect opportunity to like come and talk to these kids, and they're doing this parkour, and I like asked them, I was like, hey you guys, like I gave them the information. I was like, told them that Tim was on the show a few weeks ago, and they got all excited.
Oh, nice.
And their eyes lit up. Yeah. And I was like, you guys want to be part of my video that I'll be posting up? And they said yes. So they go out and they did the parkour, and it was really fun, and all kinds of people were watching. So hopefully that'll boost the Chicago community. Maybe they'll get involved. But next, I went over to the Buckingham Fountain, and there were a bunch of people there because it was a gorgeous day outside. So I sat up right next to the fountain and just held up my sign, and it was pretty amazing because it was the first time that I had used the sign, my first experience with them, and it's crazy to say, but I could literally see how I was hacking the Matrix by using the sign. Like, I swear, you'd look and people would just stare and think about the words for a little while, you know, and like their thought patterns would just switch over somewhere else, you know, like to some other thing, like why is this girl doing this and why those words, you know, and and it was pretty amazing. I loved it. So I did that for a little while, and then there was a group of people doing a global march for peace and unity, and they're doing this all around the country. And I walked over, and I kind of missed their whole beginning thing, but I walk over and I hear that they're doing a breathing meditation, and so I walked on by and joined in on it, and it was really wonderful. There were all kinds of people there, like business, like all kinds of cultures, like all age groups. It was beautiful. And then later we did qigong, and that was my first experience with it. And it was super, super fun. And after it was over, I just got to pass out the business cards to everybody. I talked to the leader of the meditation and the qigong, and we got talking. And I told him about the radio show, and he said he'll definitely check it out. And
cool.
Yeah, and I got some CDs, and there were a lot of just really great exchanges going on with hugs and all kinds of things. And my day ended with a Vegan Mania event that was downtown, and so there was a bunch of free vegan food, and it was all so delicious, and so many great people, and so many different compassionate groups and organizations doing all kinds of different work. And I had my free hugs button that I makeshift made that day, and randomly people would just come up and give me hugs, and we'd start talking, and it was really, really great.
That's awesome.
So yeah, as I said, colorful experience on World Peace Day.
Oh my gosh, you had an epic adventure.
Yeah, I really did. It was wonderful.
Well, Brianna, can you tell us what was your experience with World Peace Day? What did you get up to?
Well, I took my free hugging to swing dancing in downtown Farmington under a pavilion. And so I have video footage of that, which I'm working on editing. Free hugs, and I passed out some flyers and pamphlets, talked to some kids. It was really Christian oriented, so I had a lot of people were talking about how much they loved Jesus and stuff, and they sometimes mistook me for trying to convert them to some weird Scientology religion. I was like, no, I'm not trying to do that. But yeah, and then I worked most of the day on Saturday, but since I was working, and I guess a lot of people can relate, while you're at work, things can get kind of hectic. But since it was World Peace Day, I tried when I would just take a breath and tune into the peace energies that were around and amplifying them and just really centering myself and being peace. So when I interacted with guests or customers, I would be very peaceful towards them, be very understanding, open, not really confrontational or giving them any sort of bodily cues that I didn't want them to be there. And just enjoying myself. And that's basically how I spent Peace Day.
Nice.
Being peace, that's an important part that came up earlier in the show.
Yeah, that's I kind of what we were talking about earlier. I mean, this idea of world peace. I mean, our individual bodies are a world in themselves. So I mean, let's create world peace by being a world of peace within our own orbiting system, so to speak. So
yep.
Yeah,
living
just
by
embodying
example.
It. Exactly. Live by example. We're permissionaries is a term that we've sort of heard in the past, and I like that. So I mean, I hope this free hug thing, I hope it becomes a meme, and creating memes is another very powerful thing that we're doing right now. So next week, anybody else in London listening to this, you'll find me at the same street corner of Central and Richmond, and standing in one place is a very effective way. Of course, you can move around, explore, work with the different tactics that you have available, and just keep your eyes open for Agent Smith and just have fun doing it. And in the process, you'll meet amazing people, you'll meet people in your community, and it's just incredibly awesome, and love and epicness and adventure and journey.
Doing it at a swing dancing event, it was pretty high energy. Most of the people were pretty open. I got mob rushed. Like, I would be having my little sign up, and at first when I took my sign out, I did have that feeling of, this is silly, like, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. And then quickly got over that. And then I literally got rushed by 5 different people all at the same time. They would just run up to me and give me a hug, and then they giggle to themselves and I'll run away. And so instead of me initiating the hugs, I was just holding the sign and people would just gravitate to me and hug me.
Yeah.
Like I was a lost teddy bear or something.
Exactly. Nice. Well, that's awesome to hear that you guys were able to get out there, because I think that, again, just it sets a wonderful example, and it inspires other people to continue doing that. And like we said, I mean, we're not going to wait until next September 21st to do this. No, I'm doing it next week, and then I'm doing it the weekend after, because I mean, every time that we do it, our intention, I mean, for those of us who are Paradigm Shift admins, is that our intention is not just to give out a free hug, but it's actually to connect people to this wonderful opportunity where we get to see them again, and then we get to have more conversation and build friendship. And creating friendship is such a powerful foundation for a beautiful community that we have here. So I mean, it's great. And again, we encourage you to share what you're listening to here if this inspires you, and of course share even any of the videos, be it Monica's or Brianna's videos, and share the recent video that I got up of the Shiftivism. That in itself, sharing this content through the digital internet and everything like that is a form of Shiftivism. Just putting that information out there, putting those portals, creating those portals so that other people can see them and then choose to engage with them, to choose to click on a video on your wall that's talking about Shiftivism and stuff. There's what the heck is this? And then they find out, and then next thing you know, they're tuned into the radio show next week. So please, if you're listening to this show, share it again once you get the chance, and keep an eye open for the YouTube episode. And I will say this now, is that we will be having another after party hangout, which is another super fun thing that we do. So if you go to facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio, you'll see the link. We'll put that up as this show wraps up, and there you can hang out with any of the other shifters that are tuned in just through Google Hangouts. So it's a simple application. You might need to install a plugin, but again, it's just a super awesome place for us to chill out and just have more conversation and collective inspiration and education. And one thing I'll say is I was just observing the live chat, but it's kind of this idea of buttons, $1, paper, 50 cents, duct tape, a couple bucks, shifting people's paradigms and hacking the matrix, priceless. It really is. MasterCard commercials for Paradigm Shift Central.com. So, okay, I'm going to bring on Eric, and we're going to keep Monica and Brianna on the air here, because both of you are... Monica, did you submit for the Howl in a Full Moon? Did you submit something for that? I forget.
I did.
You did, yeah, you definitely did. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, Eric, I'm going to bring you onto the air now then, and we'll hear what you were up to that day as well. Eric is in Minnesota. Is he in Minnesota? I'm pretty sure he's in Minnesota, I think. He'll confirm that. So, Eric, we're going to bring you on. We're going to talk about what you were up to. I know you were doing seed planting and stuff. And then within the last few minutes, we'll play the Howl at the Full Moon thing. So, stick around for that. So, Eric, if you're ready, here we go. Yo, hey. Eric. Hey, yo, man.
Hi. And I am from Minnesota.
Okay, just confirm.
Yeah.
And there is a group for what you got going in Minnesota, and we'll post that into the show notes. So, anybody in Minnesota. But it's not Facebook.com/ParadigmShift Minnesota. Not yet, at least. Maybe you'll create that page soon. So, yeah. Okay, cool. But yeah. All right, so Eric, tell me, what did you get out for you? Seed bombing. Oh, you didn't?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to planting seeds, but
literal seeds.
Me and my girlfriend and one of her friends, actually, we printed out some signs that as you think, so shall you become, and open your heart. And we just walked around downtown St. Paul.
Hell yeah.
like, we didn't even know, but the Minnesota Wild hockey game was going on. So we just, like, posted up right in front of the stadium and, like, held our sign in front of, like, hundreds of people. So, like, it worked out pretty well there.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good crowd to hit. I mean, people sort of, like, coming out of there, that'd be, like, the last thing on their mind. And then you, like, plant it right into their thoughts. And you're just like, whoa, what was that about, right?
Yeah. And, like, it worked really well because, like, there's some, like, homeless man playing on, like, 3-gallon paint buckets with drumsticks. And, like, I was like, hey, man, like, could I come jam with you and, like, just to see what happens? And we just were jamming out. And, like, people just started putting money in his bucket. And then he was like, hey, do you want to play drums? Like, do you want to play drums? And then I played drums, and, like, I, like, somehow made him money playing drums. And I was like, I'm not going to take any of it. Like, I just left. Mm-hmm. It's not about making money. But, yeah, it was a good day. Like, we really felt, like, light on our feet afterwards.
Yeah, you get, like, a high off of it, eh?
Yeah.
Like actually just, like, that energy that you create for yourself, yeah. We're really, like, embodying, like, a new vibration that is a part of our reality, but oftentimes we don't really, like, step into it. We don't, like, flick that switch, so, yeah.
Like, what's his name? I forgot his name. He was saying, it's like being an interference in the Matrix, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You're just walking around being an orb. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this. Heck yeah.
Definitely, man. Well, I'm happy to hear that you were able to make the signs and like you figured out how to make the signs, eh? Like you printed off the PDF and you taped it together. Like that was I didn't have to tell you how to do that. You figured out how to do that on your own.
Yeah, dude.
Perfect, man. So anybody can do it. Therefore, yeah. Sweet,
it works.
Sweet. It does work, man. It does work, and let's continue to do it. Let's talk about it more.
I need more buttons. I need a lot more buttons. I gave away like 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I need to get my admins more buttons. So again, if you're interested in the idea of buttons, then there's a special deal that's going to be on for the admins of Paradigm Shift Community. So consider that some enticement, enticement, whatever. Consider that some encouragement to get involved. So okay, we only got a few minutes left, and then I want a few minutes on the end of what we got coming up next, just to sort of buffer our way out. So going back to the Howl at the Full Moon project, again, every full moon within the Paradigm Shift community, we sort of encourage people to post things related to the moon, post pictures of themselves with the moon, like share like poetry or just images. And it went back all the way to August 2012, when we created a really beautiful montage, which you can find through the main website under the interactive projects. And within the project that we did recently, similar to this, a branch of this, we encourage people to record themselves howling at the moon, and then Eric worked with those audio samples, and being a musician himself, he created something really magical for us. So Eric, just sort of set this up. What was your experience like working with that?
It was really awesome actually to put them all together, because a lot of the, like, somebody sang like a moon hymn. I can't remember who that was, but it lined up like perfectly with what I already made, and like putting all the howls together, it just sounded like actual wolf pack. So it was really interesting to work with.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of inspiration. Like just initially seeing that video, like talking about like everybody contributing to something, it really just like really intrigued me.
Yeah, it's just another like chance for us to engage in our creativity and for consciousness to express itself through, and like you said, the fact that the fact that it synced up is like, sort of proof that it was kind of like meant to happen kind of thing. But okay, we only got a few minutes, so I'm gonna play this now, and we'll come back with a couple minutes afterwards. So I'm gonna mute everybody here. So stay tuned, guys, and feel free, if you're listening to this, feel free to howl along, and of course get involved with the next full moon project that we'll be doing next full moon. And we didn't really do something this full moon because we had the global Shiftivism thing going on, but this is something that I haven't even listened to like fully entirely yet. I was actually like saving it for right now, so this is in the moment. So thanks again to Eric for helping create this. This is really some magical stuff right here. So This is all about the tribe. This is all about, the wolf pack. So, all right, here it is. Enjoy. And listen to it again on YouTube. It'll be better quality. Enjoy. All right. Well, that was absolutely awesome. Genius work by Eric. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm just unmuting everybody here as we just sort of reflect on how awesome that was for the last minute. And before we went into it, I sort of forgot, but I mean, you could have meditated on that, and I'll post up the link for it so people can listen to the song individually. Again, you'll find that link through the YouTube. But quick reaction within the last 60 seconds. Brianna and Monica, how awesome was that?
I did meditate to that.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
It was.
One thing I want to say, like, did you notice how it sounded all wiggly at a certain part, like the higher notes?
Yeah.
It might have just been Blog Talk. So
yeah, that's Blog Talk. That was nuts. Yeah. That made it sound great.
Yeah. Cool. I didn't hear it like that on my end, but okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so literally 30 seconds in the show, remind everybody to join the after party, and you can do that at facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. The link is already on the page, and continue the conversation there. So for everybody tuned in, for Eric, Monica, Brianna, and Noah, and Diane, and Barbara, and Chris, and everybody who's been listening and tuned into the show, thank you for being a part of the shift, and go out, take action, show love. Global Shiftivism 2013, 2014. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, we'll see you in the future. So, guys, just
Peace
join
out.
me in saying farewell to the internet. So, bye, internet. Bye.
See you later, internet.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, internet.
Peace out.
Bye. All right, good job, team. Good job. See you in the after. Thank you for listening to another episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. If you enjoyed this program and would like to support the production of it, then please consider becoming a PSR Plus member. Check out ParadigmShiftCentral.com/PSR Plus and receive access to exclusive bonus content. Thank you.